Actually, it's Saturday afternoon, early evening, and I'm on my way home. But I bought a book called Web 2.0 Strategy Guide, published by O'Reilly, and I hadn't really planned to buy it because I read it at the bookstore. But and I just posted something on my blog using the WordPress application on my iPhone, 3G iPhone. So I felt like really great that I could do those things, but I got the feeling that Web 2.0 is so different from Web 1.0, or what we call Web 2.0, that it's almost like a totally different concept where you're enabling users who you believe have infinite value, and that you're creating platforms to realize that value. And a Web 1.0 business really is one that just allows you to sell something or provide a service. And usually it's a broadcast type of thing, or it's a push thing or pull thing where you're just going to a vitamin store and ordering some vitamins. So it's based out of need, but not really out of a willingness to contribute. So what I came up with was the idea is that engagement, as I look at this spark here, is really, and I am recording, right? Yes. Is really about letting a user make a contribution, and the measurement of that is measuring the contribution that they're making, or that your users are making. And then you can segment it and do different things like that. But it seems to me that you couldn't really have the concept of engagement without having the technology to enable it. That these things started to come into being as terminology to use when we developed the ability to have interaction, and that as we evolve, we've come up with these terminologies, and now we're figuring out how to measure those things. But it seems to me that simple sites that are just offering a product and don't actually, allow you to contribute anything, just order something, aren't really the basis for engagement, because there's no contribution. You're just doing something, opening a door, ordering something, and not really, so where's the engagement there? And a lot of sites that are trying to, or even if you're just, say, IBM, and you have a page up there with a bunch of widgets, that's not necessarily really engaging either, because there's no contribution. Just moving a widget thing along doesn't necessarily do anything for anybody. So I'm just videotaping myself with these ideas that I'm having right now, because I don't want to forget them, and I probably will speak about them in California next week at Exchange and Search Engine Strategies. And I'm reading this fascinating book that's published by O'Reilly on Web 2.0 Strategy Guide, which I think everybody ought to buy, and I'm hoping my friend Jared will read it, because it really shows how you can evaluate a business in terms of what it ends up being selling as by the value, the average value of a visitor or a user. And I think the way that it's explained in this book actually then makes sense why Facebook was valued at $15 billion, and why other companies like Netflix and Flickr were valued the way they were. Because once you read this stuff, you can honestly see why they are. And then the last thing I wanted to say today is I haven't been sketching and painting much, because I've been trying to figure out the compelling reason why I should. And it got me to think about the idea that, to a certain extent, engagement is a measure of the minimum amount of contribution someone needs to make to stay involved or engaged. Lately, I haven't been renting my studio space, and even when I wasn't there, there's a sense that I felt more engaged because I had it. So I think that, and I decided to stop having it this summer because I needed a break, because it felt like too much work. But one of the things I wanted to bring forward was the idea that engagement really is a minimum contribution that someone needs to make in order to be engaged and involved, and that if we can figure out what that is, both from a site owner perspective, what you want as the owner of the site or publisher of the site, and what the user needs it to be in order to be engaged. I think you can then have the basis for both measurement and segmentation. And I think if we think in terms of the minimum contribution level that someone needs to be involved, I think we come a lot closer to something we can work with. So that's Marshall Sponder in Brooklyn signing out. And my next videos will be out in California, hopefully many. And I'll see you there. And here I am in Windsor Terrace Park Slope area. Bye.